The day after I wrote my last exam in college, I booked a one-way ticket moving across the country from Ontario to British Columbia, where I quite frankly changed the direction of my life out there in British Columbia. And in this video, I'm going to share some insights into some of the things that I've learned along the way from moving away thousands of miles away. From friends and family, and how I overcame it. And not only overcame it, but it actually made me a much better person than I am today. So the first thing that I learned from moving away from my friends and family in my hometown was you have to embrace change and don't shy away from it. I think the big reason a lot of individuals hesitate in making this move is that they actually are afraid of change. They're afraid of the unknown, when in fact, that's the exact thing that's going to create the catalyst for growth in your life. So for me, I knew nobody when I moved out here. I was lucky enough to strike up a sales contract that allowed me to move into a company. And within that company, there was, other people I got to meet and live with. But quite frankly, I knew nobody. I knew nothing about this place. But it excited me because I embraced change. And if you can flip that in your mind from going from, a scarcity mindset where everything new is scary to everything new is a chance for me to learn what I don't know, to explore this world that is much, much bigger than yourself, that you don't know what is actually going to be good or bad for you until you experience it. And the classic saying of if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger really does come true in that sense, because all of these things that people get so afraid of, they're afraid of it because they built up this idea in their head that it's going to affect their life so dramatically. And the longer they sit on it, it festers and grows bigger and bigger in their head. And so if you can flip that idea on its head, that getting uncomfortable and having change in your life is a bad thing, and flipping it to it is a good thing and is actually going to help me find out quicker what I want out of this life and how to pursue that, that is the first insight I think anyone looking to do this needs to understand. The second insight that it was hard for me to make this video, and I'll tell you why. Since I was very, very young, and I'm talking like 12, 13, I always had this idea that I wanted to move away and forget everything, have nobody know about me and start fresh, start clean. And so I had to really dig up some of those concerns other people had that they were projecting on me, and think on why is that? What was kind of causing that? And then what did I actually get out of that they were concerned from? And this one specifically was one that a lot of individuals I still see, and I'm 24 now, I still see my friends and family and people at my age kind of fearful of. And it's living on your own. It's embracing living by yourself. And I think part of that comes down to we live with a family until we leave for the first time. And then when we leave for the first time, we typically leave to a dorm room or a residence where we go and live at a college or a university where we're living with even more people than before. And it's that kind of perpetual cycle that continues throughout our life. And then, a lot of people get a boyfriend or a girlfriend and then eventually move in with them. And so for most, we never actually go through that experience of living on our own completely. And for me, I kind of looked for that. Part of it was my personality, but part of it was I knew there was something in there. And this insight is actually a big one for a lot of individuals that struggle with just maintaining the basic habits of life, the good habits of life, like keeping your place clean, cooking for yourself, doing your laundry. These simple things that is either taken for granted or overlooked as a way forward in your life. And so for me, when I lived completely on my own, no one else was in the house. I might have lived in an apartment with other individuals, as in they were in the next unit over, but in my place, my bedroom, my kitchen, it was mine, right? No one else took care of anything. It was my responsibility. The speed in which I grew at from being completely independent and dependent on my own actions was tenfold as if I lived with even friends or family. And I think this is a really critical point because a lot of us actually get held back from these basic necessities that we don't fully develop because of that dependency on others. Whether it's just because someone else doesn't care about doing the laundry, we don't care about doing the laundry. Because someone else doesn't care about keeping the kitchen clean, we don't care about it. And we don't force ourselves to get out there and really have to take matters into our own hands and take that responsibility. And so that's the second one, is going out and actually living on your own is a game changer for your personal development, to take you from that 0 to 1. It's not really going to per se make you rich or allow you to figure out the secrets to the universe by any means, but it allows you to get a foothold on the basic needs that you need to support yourself, to then take yourself to the next step on figuring out what you want to do for the rest of your life. Now, this third one is a little bit more practical. This allows you to really think about how to build yourself up in this new place that you've just moved to, while overcoming that fear of moving away from friends and family. And that's actively seeking out new connections. I think there's this little bit of a stigma that going and meeting new individuals, okay? And going back to my first point about embracing change, you have to go out of your way. You can't expect all of a sudden a new friend group to be dealt to you and handed to you when you're in a completely new city. Now, if you were doing this 50 years ago, 60 years ago, it'd be much harder. You have the luxury of technology, of more importantly, social media, to find and interact with individuals that are not only in the same city you're in, but have the same interests by pre-vetting them through their Instagram profiles, their TikToks, their, whatever, their websites. And so for me, I want to tell you a story, because this is exactly how I actually grew my network here in Vancouver into a very flourishing network, a high net worth network that I've been able to, gratefully surround myself with. So before I even moved out here, but when I knew I was going to move, I started to find individuals that actually were from Vancouver. And it just so happened at the time I was, playing around the stock market, the Forex market, and I came across a guy, Brad Fairbridge, which I reached out to him. We started to get to know each other. And this was all through Instagram DMs. Okay, so I found him, I DM'd on Instagram. We started to become really good friends over Instagram. And then when it came time for me to actually move out here, it was awesome because I already had that connection pre-established. And so I actually went, met him in person, built the relationship. And in doing so, he actually had a brother who was very like him, Braden, which I went on to actually go and work with Braden and his business partner, Colin, which all of us are now really good friends. But it only took that one Instagram DM, that one reach out, that was a thoughtful DM saying like, hey, I really like this about what you're doing. I'm into this as well, blah, blah, blah. And that sparked that relationship. Another interesting experience of mine doing a similar thing, Instagram DMs, was actually how I ended up getting my first startup job and really propelling me into digital marketing and SaaS sales. And after I finished my sales contract up here in 2018 in Vancouver, I was looking to expand my network. I had Braden and Colin and them, but I felt like I needed more individuals in the sales space. And so I found this guy, Scott Birdie, and Scott was in the Vancouver area. He was working at this company and he was head of sales on his Instagram bio. I'm like, oh, this seems super aligned, So I reached out to him. Hey, Scott, I'm looking to expand my network, just being upfront with him. I'm looking to expand my network. I saw that you're into sales. This is what I do. I'm into sales as well. I'd love to meet up for a coffee, a couple back and forth. Next thing you know, we're showing up at a coffee shop to meet each other. We shake hands and we have an amazing conversation. And that relationship not only started at that point, but continued to the point where I actually went and worked with him at his company back in Toronto when I moved back there for a year and a half. It was an amazing experience. It taught me so much. And it was all through an Instagram DM. And so what that really boils down to is go out and leverage these tools we have to us and don't overlook them as methods in which you can build your network. I could have done this 10 times over if I still needed to find the right people. I just so happened to get lucky on the first 2 people that I reached out to and found individuals that I really connected with. Now, the fourth thing is similar to the third point, but in a different channel. Okay, so instead of using Instagram DMs or social media in general, we're going to be using communities and sports leagues. So if you play any sports leagues, this was something that I actually was strongly considering. I wouldn't do it for this reason anymore, but I would still do it for the sake of growing my network as a side effect. is joining a sports league. So a volleyball co-ed, or, one side or the other. If you're competitive, maybe you don't want to go in a co-ed, just go into an all males, or all females, right? But join a sports league, whatever sport you're into, go and do it. Maybe it's not something you want to allocate your time to forever, but go and do it for maybe a season to allow yourself to build some of those connections. If you're not into sports, maybe say you're into chess, or say you're into pottery, go and join the local pottery class, or go and join the local chess club. Like, these are things that are still very much active in Vancouver, just as much as they were in your old place, if not more, if you're moving into a big city. So this is a very simple one. I would strongly encourage this. I think this is a great way to build amazing relationships, because you not only know that they're going to be interested in the same things you are, at least on a base level, but you actually get to go out and explore the city by default. In continuing on my last point, the next one is stay busy. Don't allow yourself to just mope around in your apartment or wherever you move to and constantly be thinking about your friends and family back home. Right. So if you're not doing any of the things I just listed, the default is you're going to be thinking about, oh, my life back home, because you're not allowing yourself to discover the life here. Go out for a walk, explore different cities, actively go and search for new restaurants, new areas of the city to explore. Maybe you don't like hiking, but maybe you like trying new food. So whatever that is, find ways to go and keep yourself moving. Don't allow yourself to stay isolated and stay still. And the sixth and final point is a bit more esoteric or spiritual, but because you're ideally living on your own and you're in this new city that is completely new for you, get uncomfortable with exploring yourself. If you've gone for 18, 19 years of your life and really never questioned your paradigms or your belief systems that you've held until now, this is a perfect time to kind of reset and kind of evaluate, is everything that I'm doing in my life is what I want to be doing? And give yourself that space to just go for a walk and think about, what I believe in. Why do I believe in these things? And really explore who you are as an individual up until this point. Because when you're in a pre-existing space that you have all of these social connections and all of these consistencies that you're trying to hold, which is like the confirmation consistency bias, that once you've told someone or once you've acted a certain way with some individual, you feel more obligated to act that way and not break that. And so when you are living in a town that everyone knows you and you have these deep-rooted connections with, it's hard to break them and reevaluate or reset who you want to be deep down. But now that you've moved into this new place and you've broken a lot of those connections, or distance is a better word, distance yourself from a lot of those relationships, it gives you the ability to say, what didn't I like about myself back in my hometown, right? What were those characteristics? What are the friends that, when I hung out with them, I didn't love hanging out with them, and if I could have hung out with this kind of person, I would have loved that maybe a lot more. Maybe you had one friend like that you loved and 10 others that you didn't. What did you like about them? What didn't you like about the other ones? What did you like doing? When were you your best self? What activities were you doing? What thoughts were you having? What did you do throughout the day? All of these things can come up if you just give yourself a little space to think and explore yourself. And in doing so, you can kind of make it like a game in pushing past your current self and growing into this future self. But you have to really think on it. This isn't something that comes in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. This is an ever-going process, but use it as a way, like I said, to stay busy. But not only that, propel yourself as an individual to start to flourish into a version of yourself that can really thrive and go on to achieve your bigger purpose in life, whatever that might be. So I hope you found these valuable. Again, for me, I moved thousands of miles away when I was 19 years old, and I never looked back because it really did change the trajectory of my life. And the reason that did was because I really embraced what I was doing. I embraced the change. I actively sought new relationships. I explored myself. I became a new person when I was out here. I'm continuing. I get goosebumps just thinking about how much I changed when I moved. But it was because I was seeking this. I was questioning. Why am I like this? Why didn't I like these people? Why do I like these people? And so because I did all these things, the move really made me a completely better and more evolved individual. And I went from like a teen boy to a young man. And now I'm thriving. I'm back here in Vancouver. I'm really enjoying the life I've designed. Okay, it wasn't by accident that I'm back out here with the friend network, with the career that I have. And so I urge you to do some of those things. And I strongly, I'm confident that you will have a similar experience if you follow any of those 6, or ideally all of those 6. So until next time, guys, stay moving, stay learning, stay well, and subscribe and give it a like if you found this valuable.